Marvel fans, comic geeks, and all nerds in between. My name is Megan, and I'm here with another character breakdown. And usually it's a mutant, but today it is not. It's someone that I really hope is the actual villain of the upcoming Marvel Studios Spider-Man Brand New Day. So today we're going to talk about Mr. Negative. He is an interesting character, and I am very excited for you to learn about him. So, Mr. Negative. He first appeared in Free Comic Book Day 2007, Spider-Man #1, in May of 2007, and he was created by Dan Slott and Phil Jimenez. Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, his origin story is basically how many crimes, identity theft, secret personalities, and supervillain upgrades can one guy fit into one lifetime. He is constantly testing that limit. Before he was Mr. Negative, he was a member of the Snakeheads, which is a Chinese human trafficking gang run by the crime boss named Silver Fang. Instead of pursuing healthy hobbies, he spent his time smuggling immigrants into America aboard a ship called the Golden Mountain. When the ship nearly wrecked off New York, he saw an opportunity and pulled the ultimate life hack. He stole the identity of a dead passenger named Martin Lee, a man who had been traveling to reunite with his wife. Unfortunately, fake Martin Lee's first day in his new life went terribly. He found his snakehead contacts dead, got kidnapped by the Magia crime family, and was handed over to a mad scientist named Simon Marshall. Because apparently things were not chaotic enough already, you have to add in a mad scientist. Marshall was testing a new designer drug called D-Light on runaway teens and undocumented immigrants. Most test subjects died. Somehow, 3 people survived: Tyrone Johnson, Tandy Bowen, and fake Martin Lee. You may know who Tyrone and Tandy is because they are Cloak and Dagger. Martin got something arguably worse: split personality superpowers. The drug created 2 versions of him. One was the kind and charitable Martin Lee. The other was Mr. Negative, a crime lord fueled by pure vengeance. The 2 personalities basically became roommates, sharing the same body and constantly fighting over who gets the steering wheel at any given time. Real quick, let me tell you about his powers. Thanks to a completely terrible life choice involving the D-Light, the experimental drug, Mr. Negative gained the ability to generate and control both the light force and the dark force. Instead of shooting regular energy like a normal comic book supervillain, his powers show up in a bizarre black and white photographic negative kind of vibe energy that looks like reality itself forgot how colors work. Using this twisted mix of light force and dark force energy, Mr. Negative can pull off a wide range of supernatural and downright unfair abilities, including, but definitely not limited to, limited shape-shifting, superhuman strength, superhuman reflexes, person empowerment like healing touch. For example, he cured Eddie Brock's cancer, and a subsequent touch charged the remnants of the Venom symbiote in Brock's body with the power to bond with Brock's leukocytes and create another symbiote, a hero named Anti-Venom, who you may know as Flash Thompson. He also has corrupting touch. Mr. Negative's touch has brainwashing and corrupting properties. His touch can change people's personalities and temperaments and make them serve his interests. And object empowerment. His touch can bring the dark force to the object, most often like his daggers or other blades, and making them stronger and more durable. So he is unfairly intimidating. Using the real Martin Lee's identity, he reinvented himself as a successful businessman and philanthropist. Publicly, everyone believed he was just a hard-working immigrant who survived a slave ship, built a fortune, and dedicated his life to helping others. Nobody knew the real story involving gang activity, identity theft, experimental superdrugs. He eventually built up enough money and influence to avoid awkward questions about his immigration status and started helping the community through Feast, which is F-E-A-S-T, a soup kitchen and charity organization where Aunt May volunteered. You may know Aunt May because she is the very Aunt May of Spider-Man. To everyone around him, Martin Lee seemed like a genuinely good person. But what was the catch, you ask? He was also secretly Mr. Negative, a crime boss of Chinatown, so he was pulling double duty constantly. While serving soup during the day, he served his nights building a criminal empire, absorbing rival gangs, taking over the White Dragons, and quietly folding the remnants of the Snakeheads into his organization. He even rescued the real Martin Lee's wife, Yana, from gangsters who thought her husband had died. As Mr. Negative, he made it his mission to destroy the Magia for what they'd done to him. One of his first major moves was trying to wipe out the entire crime families using a DNA-targeted bioweapon called the Devil's Breath. Because when most people seek revenge, they write angry texts. Mr. Negative prefers bioterrorism. And of course, things only got weirder. Comic books. He got involved with New York politics. He endorsed mayoral candidates. He healed Hetty Brock's cancer with just one touch, which I've said before, but that is pretty impressive. But he accidentally helped create anti-venom. He hired Hammerhead and offered to stick his brain into a robotic adamantium body. He corrupted Spider-Man, Aunt May, Cloak, Dagger, random gangsters, and basically anyone who stood still long enough. At one point, he fought the Hood. He manipulated Wraith, who is Yuri Watanabe, secretly played multiple crime syndicates against each other, and kept treating New York's criminal underworld like a giant chessboard where everyone was both a pawn and a potential victim. His identity was eventually exposed, but mostly that just made things more inconvenient rather than actually stopping him. Later, he escaped prison, moved his operations to Shanghai, mass-produced a corruption drug called Shade, brainwashed Cloak and Dagger, tried to expose Silverfang's hidden past, and launched an international revenge campaign. By this stage, his career path had gone from human smuggler to global supervillain CEO. Then things somehow got even weirder, as they tend to do. A supernatural serial killer named Sin Eater temporarily purified him, removing the Mr. Negative personality altogether. Martin Lee briefly got to experience life without his evil half before comic book logic kicked in and the corruption returned. The good and evil sides eventually became so distinct that they were practically arguing with each other through pre-recorded messages. Most recently, we saw Mr. Negative in the newest Spider-Man comic run called The Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day, where he is using the Devil's Breath, which I said can put anyone under control, and it brings out the absolute worst in them. Also, apparently, the Devil's Breath is a really big deal in the video games. I've only played Miles Morales, so I don't know. Anyways, he uses this on the Punisher, turns him into a little rage-filled, trauma-flooded killing machine. And we're only on issue 2 of that run. So far, both issues have been fantastic. So I'm very interested to see where that goes. And I'm interested to see if the Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day comic run has anything to do with the movie. So by modern era, Mr. Negative has become one of New York's most powerful crime bosses, regularly clashing with Spider-Man, Kingpin, Anti-Venom, Cloak and Dagger, Wraith, and basically anyone trying to just have a normal Tuesday. That's Mr. Negative, equal parts community leader, crime boss, tragic victim, superpowered mobster, and walking identity crisis, because Marvel does not have enough of those. So that is Mr. Negative. I like him as a character. I like him as a villain, and I feel like he's very underrated for what he can do. Like, it's always Kingpin. It's always the same heavy hitters. Bring him in. I want to see him in live action. I think it would be cool. Plus, he has a complex history, not just because he's 2 players in one, but from where he started, where he was just a no-name villain, to someone who's playing the philanthropist, but also the crime boss. And also, he is such a big adversary of Spider-Man, and I want everything Spider-Man. It's my greatest flaw. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something, and I hope you'll like and subscribe. Have a marvelous day.